Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hi everyone, welcome to lecture number 34, the first lecture on labor mobility. In our last lecture, we discussed about the economics of discrimination, and we discussed about the discrimination coefficient, how we can estimate the discrimination coefficient, and we also discussed about discrimination and profits of a firm and the impact of discrimination on labor market outcomes when the firm discriminates on the basis of certain race, class, religion, then how the labor market outcomes get affected in terms of employment and wages. Further, we discussed about different methods to measure this wage discrimination in the labor market. In this lecture, we will discuss about labor mobility. When we say labor mobility, this is one of the mechanism through which the labor market allocates the resources more efficient way. We have already seen the allocation of workers to the farm implied by a competitive labor equilibrium. It maximizes the total value of labor's product. So, in a competitive labor market, the farms they hire the workers as per their requirement in terms of the marginal physical revenue of the labor, and which equates to the marginal cost in terms of wage. So, in a competitive labor market, workers are continually searching for higher paying jobs and the farms are searching for the cheaper workers. So, as a result, these search activities, the value of marginal product of labor is equated across the farms and across the labor markets with a given worker's skill. Therefore, the equilibrium allocation in a competitive environment of farms and the workers is efficient, and no other allocation can increase the value of labor's contribution to the national income when it is a competitive labor market. However, actual labor markets are not quite so neat. Practically, there are so complex situations are there where the allocation does not happen the way it should have been. So, workers often do not know their own skills and abilities and are ill informed about the opportunities available in the other jobs or in the other labor markets. So, as the farms do not know the true productivity of the workers they hire. However, the information about the value of this match between the worker and the farm is revealed slowly as both parties learn about each other over a period of time. Therefore, the existing allocation of workers and the farm is not efficient, and other allocations are possible that could increase the national income. So, labor mobility is one of the mechanism in the labor market that used to improve the allocation of workers to the farm over a period of time. So, there is a great deal of mobility in the labor market. In fact, it seems that if the labor market is, there is a constant flux, some workers switch over their job in any given point of time, some moves across the state line borders in the form of legal or illegal immigration. So, in this lecture, we will discuss about all these flavors of labor mobility that are driven by some fundamental factors like workers want to improve their economic situation and the farms want to hire more productive workers. So, the analysis of labor mobility helps us to address a number of key questions in the labor economics, like what are the determinants of migration? How do migrants differ from the persons, those who choose to stay? What are the factors that determines how migrants are self-selected? Further, what are the consequences of this migration, both for the migrants themselves as well as for the localities that they move to? There could be another implication. Do the migrants gain substantially from their decision, and how large are these efficient gains from the migration that the economy is going to have? So, these are the some of the questions which we can address when we discuss about this labor mobility. Migration is a very complex phenomena. It is influenced by a variety of factors. Like first and foremost factor is the economic factor. Economic opportunities often drive this migration from one place to another place. People may move to seek better job prospects, higher wages, or to escape from poverty. So, they migrate from source to destination. There are also certain pull factors like better employment prospects in the destination countries, and some push factors such as lack of opportunities in the host countries or the home countries, low wages. So, these are the factors which play a significant role for the migration to take a call for the individual that whether he should move from one place to another place. So, economic factors plays a significant role when migration comes into picture. Another factor is the social factor. Social factors include family, education opportunities, quality of life, social networks. So, people may migrate to join family members, access better education or healthcare services, or to escape from social discrimination or persecution. Then the migration will happen if these social factors they influence. Certain political factors also influence migration, like political instability, conflict, persecution, and human rights abuse can compel people to migrate from one place to another, like refugees, asylum seekers, and the internally displaced persons. Often they fly their country due to some these political unrest or persecution. There could be some environmental factors which may lead to migration. Environmental factors such as natural disaster, climate change, environmental degradation can also drive migration. For example, rising in the sea level, droughts or floods continuously happen in the source country. In that case, people are forced to leave their home in search of safer living conditions. Further, demographic factors can influence migration. Demographic factors such as population growth, age structure, urbanization can influence migration pattern. So, young adults may migrate for better educational or employment opportunities, while aging people in some countries may affect or attracted by this migration to fill the labor shortage. So, when there happens some structural change in the demographic structure of the population, then there could be some migration. Another source of migration is that legal and policy factors like immigration policies, visa regulations, and the border control can significantly impact the migration flow from one country to another country or one place to another place. So, restrictive immigration policies may deter or regulate migration, while more lenient policies may encourage migration. There could be some cultural and language factors which could influence migration. Cultural similarities or differences as well as the language barriers can influence migration decisions of the individuals. People may be drawn to the countries where they share cultural ties or where they can easily integrate due to their language proficiencies. Further, in 21st century, the impact of technology on migration cannot be ignored. The advances in transportation, communication technologies make migration more accessible and feasible. So, the improved transportation infrastructure and communication networks facilitate mobility and enable migrants to stay connected with their homes even though they are stay away. So, these are the determinants often interact with each other in a very complex way while shaping the dynamics of migration pattern within a country as well as across the globe. However, in 1932, Nobel laureate John Hicks proposed that differences in the net economic advantage is the primary difference in the wages are the main causes of migration. Practically, all modern analysis of migration decisions uses this hypothesis as a point of departure and views the migration of workers as a form of human capital investment. The workers, they calculate the value of employment opportunities available in each of the alternative labor markets and net out the costs of making this potential move, and then choose whichever option maximizes the net present value of the lifetime earnings. So, the decision to whether to move or not to move, it depends on the present value of the lifetime earnings comparing at the source country as well as in the destination country. So, the study of migration decision therefore is a simple application of human capital framework. We have already discussed about this human capital framework, how individuals they choose how much of human capital should be invested. It is completely based on the present value evaluation of their lifetime earning. Let us understand this phenomena in the case of migration decisions, how human capital plays a significant role in the migration decisions. Suppose there are two specific labor markets where the workers can be employed, and these labor markets might be in different cities or in different states or perhaps in different countries. Suppose the worker is currently employed in a city A and is considering the possibility of moving to city B. So, the worker who is 20 years old now earns when he is in city A the wage rate of $20 in city A. Now, if he were to move, he would earn let us say same $20 in city B. However, the cost of migration from city A to city B counts let us say a value of $. So, this migration cost includes the actual expenditure incurred in transporting the worker and his family, such as airfare, cost of moving household goods from one place to another. Further, this value cost $, also includes the psychic cost, the pain and suffering that is inevitable when somebody moves from away from the family, friends and social networks. So, there is some cost is associated with this migration moving from one place to another, and also there is the return. There is the return in terms of wage in the host country as well as in the destination country. Like other human capital investments, migration decisions are guided by the comparison of this present value of lifetime earnings in the alternative employment opportunities. If the present value of earnings in the city A is less than the present value of the earnings in the city B, then, and considering the migration cost, if the net gain comes out to be positive, then the individual will migrate from city A to city B. We can explain it in the form of human capital investment, the present value evaluation. Now, here we have taken into consideration that we have estimated the present value of the returns which is going to have if the worker is going to stay in a city A. So, we can estimate the present value, we can estimate the cash flow which he is going to have over the period of time as long as he stays in the labor market. It is a time period T1, T2, T3, T4. So, we can estimate, bring it to the present value, whatever the present value of all the future returns is going to happen by staying in city A is the present value. Similarly, we can also estimate the present value of the future earnings of the worker if he is going to migrate to city B. So, this is the wage rate in the T1, T2, T3, and it continues as long as the worker is there in the labor market. So, we can get the present value, we can discount it, where the R is the discount rate. We can discount it and get the present value of the earnings which is going to have in city B. So, the net gain to the migration moving from city A to city B is that the present value of the earnings in city B minus the present value of the earnings in the city A minus the migration cost which is associated with this migration, and it has been given in the form of M. So, if the net gain comes out to be positive, the worker moves from the source to destination place. So, we can derive a number of empirical testable propositions following this framework. First is that an improvement in the economic opportunities available in the destination increases the net gains to the migration and raises the likelihood that the worker moves from source to destination. The second proposition could be an improvement in the economic opportunities at the current region or the residence decreases if the net gains to the migration and lowers the probability that the worker moves. So, if there is a difference in the actual gain, the way the worker is going to find in the destination place is less than the source place, then the probability is less, the migration probability is less. Another proposition we can derive is that an increase in the migration cost may lower the net gains to the migration and reduce the likelihood of the move. So, these are some of these propositions we can derive from this present value method, and while evaluating the decision that whether the worker should move from source to destination. So, the decisions to migrate, when the worker takes a decision to migrate, the worker residing in a country that offers a low rate of return to the worker's human capital, so that the skilled do not earn much more than the unskilled. Now, while considering this decision that whether the worker should move to a source to destination country or not, let us consider the worker who is residing in a country that offers a lower rate of return to the human capital, so that the skilled workers do not earn much more than the unskilled workers. So, the rate of return to the human capital is less in a particular country. Now, in this situation generates some incentives for the skilled worker to migrate to the destination country, let us say destination country X, because they have most to gain by moving, because the source country, the home country is not going to give them a higher return as compared to the unskilled workers. So, in that case, the destination country X is the recipient of the brain drain. So, most of the skilled workers will move from the home country to the destination country, source country to the destination country. However, consider instead of workers their source countries, where they are getting high rate of return to the human capital, which means the skilled workers are more getting the return rewarded as compared to the unskilled workers. So, this is typically in countries with substantial income inequalities, as we can see in most of the less developed countries, because there is a huge gap in the skill, and the skilled workers get very high return as compared to the unskilled workers. So, in this situation, it is the country X, if it taxes the skilled workers and subsidize the unskilled workers relative to the source country, then country X becomes a magnet for the workers, those who are having relatively low earning capacity, means unskilled workers. There will be a movement of unskilled workers from the source country to destination country. However, the economic intuition underlying these arguments is based on the influential Roy model, which describes how workers sort themselves among the employment opportunities. So, we need to understand a little bit more on this Roy model, what it explains. So, suppose the persons currently residing in the source country are trying to decide whether they should migrate to the destination country X or not. In that case, we are assuming that earnings in both source country and destination country X, it depends on a single factor, which is skill, and that is completely transferable across countries. So, let us give a value or the variable to this skill efficiency in terms of units. Let us measure this skill in terms of efficiency units and measure it as a variable. We are denote it as S. So, the variable S denotes the number of efficiency units or the skills embedded with the worker. Now, we can get the frequency distribution of the skills in the source country's population. So, the distribution of skills in the source country gives the frequency of the workers in each skill level. If immigrants have above average skill, then the immigrant flow is positively selected. If the immigrants have below the average skill, the immigrant flow is negatively selected. And we wish to determine which subset of the workers choose to migrate to this destination country X. So, here we can explain that how this positive selected flow or the negative selected flow happens through this Roy's model. On the x axis, we have taken skill and we are measuring with some efficiency score. So, skill we are measuring in terms of some efficiency value. On the x axis, we are measuring the skill, and on the y axis, we have taken the frequency distribution of the workers. So, the frequency distribution of the workers in terms of skill shows a graph like this, and if the value, the average comes out to be like this. Now, if it is towards this side, then less than the above the average value, then it is positively selected the migration flow. If these workers are going to migrate, then it is positively selected immigration flow. If these workers, those who are the skill level less than Sn, if they are migrating, then it is the negatively selected immigration flow. If the workers are migrating with the skill level above Sp level, then we are saying that it is a positively selected immigration flow. So, each worker makes his or her decision by comparing the earnings in the source country and in the destination country X. So, we can draw the relationship between this wage and skill for each of the countries, and we can get the slope of this wage skill lines for each country, which gives the dollar payoff to the additional efficiency units in the destination country X or in the source country. So, here we have taken the wage skill ratio. We are trying to find the relationship between wage and skill, how it is related in the source country as well as in the destination country. Now, if you look at this graph on this part A, on the x axis we have taken the skill, on the y axis we have taken the wage rate in terms of dollar. So, it is the slope is showing how the skill is rewarded in the source country and how the skill is rewarded in the destination country. So, a worker migrates to the destination country X whenever the destination country X earnings exceed the earnings in the source country. Now, if the workers, those who are having skills more than SP level, they are migrating to the destination country. When we compare with their wages returns in the source country, so when they move to the destination country, definitely they are going to have more return. So, having more skill, they are moving to the destination country, it is a kind of positive selection. I will talk about this graph on the part B little in our subsequent discussions. Now, when we are considering that this is a positive selection, when the destination country is having more return as compared to the source country, then the workers they move. The workers, those who are having less than this skill level SP, they find their return is high in their source country as compared to the destination country. So, they will not move. So, in this case it is a positive selection. We considered that how the workers they sort themselves. Consider the sorting that occurs as I discussed in the graph. Workers with less than efficiency level SP earns more if they stay in the source country than if they migrate to the destination country. So, workers with more than efficiency level SP, however, earns more in the destination country as compared to the source country. So, hence the worker with relatively high skill level migrate to the destination country. And as long as the pay of skills in the destination country exceeds the pay of the skills in the source country, all the persons who have the skill level exceeding the threshold level SP are better off in the destination country. Therefore, the migration flow is composed of the workers in the upper tail of the skill distribution, those who are having high skill. So, this type of self selection is called the positive selection. The immigrants on average are very skilled and they do quite well in destination country when it comes in terms of earnings. Now, coming to how the self selection happens. Now, we are saying that the workers, those who are having more skill level above this SP efficiency level, they are when they are moving, it is a positive selection, means those workers who are having this, these are the workers on the skill from the skill distribution, these are the workers now they are moving from source to destination. So, it is a positive selection. Now, when it comes to the negative selection, now if you look at the graph part B, you can see the slope of the earnings in the source country as well as in the destination country. On the x axis we have taken the skills, on the y axis we have taken the wage. Now, the threshold level is Sn. Now, the skills above the Sn, the workers those who are having the skill Sn, if they move, they will find that they are having more earnings in their source country, in their home country as compared to the destination country. So, they will not move. Workers with more skill, now they will not move. But when it comes to the skill level, the workers those who are having the skill level less than the Sn, these workers will move if they decide to move. Now, they will earn more if they move in the destination country as compared to the source country. So, in this case what is happening? It is the lower tail of the skill distribution, these workers they are moving. So, in this case it is a kind of negative selection. So, where the payoff for the skills in the source country exceeds the payoff in the destination country X, workers with fewer than the efficiency units Sn earns more in the destination country and they want to move. However, in contrast, workers who have more than the efficiency units Sn have the higher earnings in the source country and they will not move. So, when the pay of skills in the destination country X is relatively low, therefore, the migration flow will be composed of the least skilled workers in the source country. So, this type of self selection is called the negative selection. So, immigrants on an average are unskilled and perform poorly in the destination country. So, we have seen that how this positive selection and negative selection is affected when it comes to the source country and destination countries return. So, in the graph A, the workers those who are having high skill level more than SP efficiency point, they are going to have a better return in the destination country, and it is the skill with high skill they are going to the destination country. Whereas, in the negative selection they are going to get a return high return, but it is the workers those who are having the low skill they are moving to the destination country. So, in that case it will be a negative selection, and these are the workers those who are going to move in a positive selection, these are the workers those who are going to move in a negative selection to the destination country. So, the key implication of this Roy model is clear. The relative payoff for the skill across the countries determines the skill composition of the immigrant flow. So, if an efficiency unit of human capital is highly valued in the destination country, then immigrants will originate in the upper tail of the skill distribution and will have the higher than the average skill. However, in contrast, if the source country offers a high payoff, the immigrant flow contains workers from the low tail of the skill distribution and who will have lower than average the skills. So, workers selling their skills behave just like farms selling their products. So, both workers and the goods flow to those markets where they can get the highest price. So, the Roy model implies that immigrants who originate in the countries that offers a low rate of return to the human capital will earn more than the immigrants who originate in the countries that offer a higher rate of return. So, the available evidence definitely indicates that there may be a negative correlation between the measures of the source country's income inequalities, which is a proxy for the rate of return to the skills, and the earnings of immigrants in the destination country. There could be some surprising implications of this raw model, like the base level of the income in the source country or the destination country. When we say base level income, it is measured by the height of the wage skill lines in the graph which we discussed. So, the implication of the raw model is that the base level of income in the source country or in the destination country do not determine the type of selection that generates the immigrant flow to the destination country from the source country. So, changes in this base level of income may affect the size of the flow, the magnitude of the migration. Now, when we say the changes in the base level of the income in the source country or in the destination country, how it affects, this can be understood through this graph. On this part A of this graph, we have considered the positive selection, and in the x axis we have taken the skill and the y axis we have taken the wage level, and the base level income is determined by this height of the line, wage skill line drawn in the destination country as well as in the source country. So, initially when it was a positive selection, the income line, the wage skill line is for the destination country is this, and for the source country is this, and this is the threshold level. Now, any skill level above this efficiency unit SP, when people migrate, then the migration will high for the high skilled workers, those who are having the skill level more than this SP efficiency units. Now, let us say the base income level for the destination country is this one. Now, the threshold level has changed from SP to S dash P. Now, you can see more people staying in the source country find it beneficial. Only a few of them will migrate. So, the magnitude of migration depends on the baseline income of the destination country. Similarly, if the baseline income of the source country is going to change, definitely it is going to change the magnitude of the migration. Let us say this was the baseline income for the source country and this was the baseline income for the source country and this was the baseline income for the destination country. Now, the baseline has declined from this to this. So, the threshold level which was earlier Sn now has reduced to S dash n, which means now less people are going to migrate to the source country, which is having the skill level less than S dash n. Earlier, this was the possible magnitude of migration. Now, this has been reduced to this part. So, if we are going to change the baseline income level in the destination country, then the size of the migration, whether it is positive selection or it is a negative selection, is going to affect significantly. So, we have already seen that the income level in the destination country falls, and it falls, let us say, because of severe recession. So, the recession pushes down the wage skill line in the destination country, as we have already seen in the figure. So, if the pay of skills in the destination country X exceeds the pay of skill of the source country, then the threshold level SP increases to S dash P. So, this implies that fewer workers now find it optimal to migrate to the destination country X. It is still the case that, however, the workers who are above the new threshold level S dash P are the ones who find it optimal to migrate, and hence the migration flow is positively selected, but the migration flow, the size of migration is reduced. Similarly, if the pay of skills in the higher in the source country, then the threshold level Sn falls to S dash n, because only the workers who are having the skill level below this threshold level S dash n now wants to move. So, the drop in the destination country X income again reduces the number of immigrants. So, the immigrant flow is still negatively selected, because the migrants originate in the lower tail of the skill distribution, but the size of the distribution, the flow of distribution has reduced. So, we have derived our main conclusion using this simplifying assumption that workers does not incur any cost when they are migrating from source to destination. If we are going to introduce the migration cost into our framework, we can easily explain it through this migration, how it happens if there is some cost is associated with migration. So, to simplify, let us suppose that it's the migration costs value m, let us say that value m is $5,000 to migrate to destination country regardless of the worker's skill level. So, the migration cost obviously reduces the net income of the workers and can expect to receive the destination country. Therefore, the migration cost shifts down the wage skill line in the destination country X and equivalent to the reduction in the destination country's income level that we have already seen in the graph. So, if the migration costs are constant in the population, and therefore, an increase in the migration cost reduces the number of immigrants, but does not alter the type of selection that generates from this migration flow, whether it is a positive selection or negative selection. So, in summary, we can say that the probability of moving across geographical region depends on economic condition in both destination as well as in the origin, and also it depends on the migration cost. So, the probability of migration rises when the income are low in the state of origin or when the incomes are high in the state of destination. So, the probability of migration also rises if the migration costs are low. Further, immigrants are not randomly chosen from the population of a source country. If the rate of return to the skill in the receiving country exceeds the rate of return skill in the country of origin, then the immigrant flow is positively selected and the immigrants have above average skills. If the rate of return to the skill in the receiving country is lower than the rate of return to the skills in the origin, then the immigrant flow is negatively selected and the immigrants have below average skills. So, in that case we can say it is a negative selection. In our next lecture, we will discuss about the job turnover, the job match, and the job turnover and the age earning profile of the workers, how it happens in the labor market. Thank you.